Mic check.
Yep. Mic check.
1, 2.
Mic check.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Y'all keep smacking each other till somebody knock it out.
I get it. That's that new thing, shorty. Folks always with the shit. Get a couple dollars, quick, easy check. Everybody want the work. I mean, want the lifestyle and the money without the work.
We used to do this for free back in the day in the,
You know what I'm saying?
backyard. Smack each other.
Smack the shit out of each other.
Yeah, niggas get paid for it now. It's crazy. Look, he's spitting on him. He already got a concussion. He don't even know.
Nothing.
Can't even stand up straight.
It's crazy, bro. Such is life, man. So much going on now. People trying to find something else to get.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yo.
You ever
Mm-hmm.
So Rome created the third.
Mm-hmm.
If you give them show, they won't worry about food as much.
the bigger the show, the less they worry about anything else.
Right.
The bigger you make the show, the more they'll pay the taxes, the more they'll just want to go to the show to forget what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is why they had all those huge coliseums. So everywhere Rome was at, they made them big coliseums
Yeah,
that had these
right.
shows because what it was they would come in the show and that's how they pushed their political policies.
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
these shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TV ain't no different.
Same.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nowadays they actually, if you notice the shows and everything is getting more brutal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever notice, if you're watching them.
Like the movie, The Gladiator, the worse the situation, the
Mhm.
more the bread.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. It's desensitized. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So we already know what it is. We already know what their game plan is. We gotta be better and have our own plan. You know what I mean?
Stop the information.
Yeah.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't pay
Yeah. You real talk, bro. Real talk. So, that's the whole point of us doing this show. You know what I mean? Because it was like we got so many people with so much talent, and at the same time, um, nobody is getting attention. Everybody's going cutting each other's throats. Everybody's just, you know what I mean? And then you all just look horrible together. You know what I mean? So it's just like we need to create an outlet for us to highlight each other. You know what I mean? Talk about who doing what. Talk about who survived what to get where they at today. You know what I mean? So we gonna jump off a couple more shows where we just talking about what's happening at the time and just current events and everything. But this in my bag is like, what's in your bag, bro? How did you overcome that shit? You know what I'm saying? That's why I told you from the get I wanted you, you know what I'm saying? On deck to, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I wanted you on deck for this, bro. Because Baltimore, like, folks don't get to hear the inside scoop on how we became who we are. They just know it's a rough, hard, dirty city. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So they don't really know or recognize the good people and what we had to overcome to be who we are. So,
I
you know,
guess because it don't glorify any, you don't see no names coming out of the city.
yeah.
So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Yeah. And even still, like when they come up and produce shows and things of that nature from here, they typically going off of the statistics and articles of horrible stories and scenarios. You know what I mean? And kind of put a storyline to them. You know what I mean? So we live in here. We've been through it. We know the stories. Everybody. And when we all come together and sit and talk about what happened back in the day, you know what I mean? Everybody got a part that they remember. You know what I mean? So, I'm gonna add the audio, music, and everything for the intro. So I'm ready to count us all in and we can get started. All right. So you ready, Sheik? Ready, G? Yeah. Yeah. Supposed to go on there and find episode 10.
This episode 10.
Yeah. So we already live on it now because I like for folks to see all of this build up. You know what I mean? To the intro and everything. So, you know, people how we moving. See what's necessary to do their own thing. You know what I mean? So let me go to join. Nasty ass weather, yo. After single week.
I like the rain to slow things down. So everything is perspective. It solidifies everything.
Yeah. That's major. Ancient folks knew their time up. All right, so screw all that. I'm just gonna count us in and we're gonna get rolling. Three, two, one. What it do, family? It's your boy. It's your brother. Wanna be more sons? I wanna post up. And I'm in this piece with my family, with my co-host, Sheeta Rye.
Hey, everybody.
My brother Jib in the building with us. Shout it. We got a phenomenal show that we bringing to you all live from Hangout Studios. The Fire Guys are on deck, and I got my broski in the building with me, man.
This is a very, very important interview. You know
what
what
I mean? Because this brother right here came
through a lot, been through a lot, and we were all a part of that struggle right here in Baltimore City. You know what I mean? So I want y'all to put your hands together right now for my man Brian in the building right here, right now. Shout it. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, man. Because, you know, this showcase, we were just talking about it, you know, with the whole point of this show.
And it really was to have real conversations with real people in Baltimore, not just about their grind and their hustles and their businesses and their talents, but how did they survive a lot of the nonsense to do what they doing and get where they at. You know what I mean? So it was imperative that we had this one-on-one with you because you came for another brother, you know what I mean, supporting another artist that, you know what I mean, came to the show. And I wanted to get a one-on-one with you, bro, because it was a lot of that conversation that we had that I didn't realize that, you know, you was going through.
You know what I mean? It was in that time frame, bro, because, you know, a lot of times we didn't take the time to listen and tap in with each other. You know what I mean? We just always looked at each other like you good. You know what I mean?
You know how that
goes. Well, pull that mic
health.
up to you, please.
Mental health ain't the biggest thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And from my background, in America, really, they push like it is, but it really not. It's kind of a stigma behind how mental illness. And who is good for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. So, you know, I want you to introduce yourself. Let everybody, because I'm calling you by your name. I know you as, but I know you changed your life and converted.
Bob Brown, bro.
Yeah.
B. Brown, man. Brown, BW, Burns, whichever one. I ain't changed nothing. I can't change what my mama made me. You know what I'm saying? I don't knock nobody for changing their name because it's proven it to them. You know what I'm I'm saying? But that's like even when I really started making that walk. When I was younger, I wanted that last name X. You already know.
Right.
My name Brian X.
Yeah,
In my head, I ain't never said it out loud. What's your name? Brian Burns.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but by the time, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Right.
I guess he just thought the type of personality I was, and I was more or less like, I went, by that time, you know what I mean? I'm rough, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm really just, I'm finding format within self. Last thing I'm thinking is my name.
Yeah.
So just for me, this is not against anybody else, but with my walk and, you know, journey, changing my name has nothing to do with my heart.
Yeah. Real talk.
I know a lot of people with this name, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they trying to say why it's cool to eat gelatin.
Yeah, right.
And you know, and it's rules with it that because it broke down and you know what I mean, it makes sense. But it's making sense for you on that note, not on the note of you claiming your hearts, the black dots from your heart got to be clean. You got to clean your mind. You know, like gang banging and being a Muslim, like those don't go together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a whole bunch of things like that. So changing my name is the last thing that was actually on my mind.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I still don't think about it much.
Yeah.
I named one of my sons. One of my sons have all of my kids kind of got an Islamic name. One of them is more geared towards Islam itself, but all of them got something within their name except for one of them is straight my grandfather.
Right. No, that's ill, bro. That's ill. You know what I mean? Because you know, a lot of folks feel like they got to change their name
because they
because
got to change themselves, and they got to. I think what's the Prince of Pan Africanism? What's your name? That's the only thing I know.
Umar Johnson.
Prince of Pan Africanism.
Right.
He made the comment not that long ago, Arabism. You seen this way he kind of said Islam is Arabism and you got to do this. No, you don't. Ain't nothing. If you really study Islam, ain't nothing saying about that. The thing about Omar, you know where that name come from? That's an Islamic name.
It became that, but prior to that, it was an Islamic Moorish name. Yeah.
Not Islam. I don't understand what people be getting to when they try to do that. Because it's like, if I got an Islamic name and I'm priding myself behind my name, we can talk about as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Whereas though, because I got honor in my name. You know what I mean? So, people, like I said, we get these things really kind of
throw mixed signals to get our point across.
Yeah.
And that really ain't the goal. It shouldn't be the goal.
Pull that mic up a little bit closer to you, bro.
Gotcha.
I want to make sure I'm picking you up loud and clear on every camera. You know what I mean?
But yeah, bro. No. That's and the thing is like for me, like with the religion thing, I felt like I came through so many different channels. You know what I'm saying? Within my family and in the community, and I had to recognize that there was a difference. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us, you know, don't. So when we get caught up in a lot of things, we don't realize the bigger picture. You know what I mean? And everybody kind of giving you their version. You know, so and me, like history was always my thing. So I had to, you know, learn the history of what the hell. You know what I mean? Before I made a concrete decision on. You know what I mean? So,
as far as just a following, right? Because any question I had, any question I could present, anything good or bad, Islam had an answer.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing where it was trying to sugarcoat. It wasn't a thing of this. It was really an answer to it.
Yeah, that was that was my question. What made you convert to Islam, and what other religions did you study prior to?
he was the deacon at the church. So he had an office in the school, and you know, over there at St. Ambrose, they could beat you.
Oh yeah.
So most of the time, they would beat me, then put me out their classroom. And I spent most of my time in his office. And he would talk to me about different stuff. I can remember like it was yesterday, because half the knuckleheads from Park Heights went to that school.
Right. No,
For
absolutely.
real. Half the dudes that was really like, I noticed later on, that half the dudes that was really out there, you know, went to that private school. Because that was the school everybody was trying to get their kids to, you know what I'm saying? So the dudes that kind of made moves, I'm not saying all of them, but I think most of this for me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Keeping it real though. That's what it was.
That's what this platform for.
After my mom and them stopped sending me there, I instantly told them I wanted to join the Nation of Islam, and I was 10.
Wow.
So my father went to jail when I was 2 months old. So my whole life growing up, my grandfather would take us to see my father every other Sunday. Saturday, every other Saturday, took us to see my father. And my father is part of Morris Science Temple inside. So every time I go, my father handed me books and we sitting there and reading. So I'm really trying to be like him.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? I was one of the kids that came on the porch like, yo, Pimlico Road. I was on Pimlico Road. Like, yo, I'm going to see my pops here in Patuxent. Yeah, I'm going here and see my pops. So then you go there, then you know he may have got moved. So I'm doing the hood thing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, yo, I'll be right back. So, you know, like I'm going in myself for real. I glorified it. I want to be like him. So as soon as they stopped sending me to that school, I told my mother I wanted to go to Nation of Islam. And I had an older cousin, Alibe, that was already there, and he was in FOI classes. So his mother got him to start taking me with him. I was too young at that moment. They really didn't have a whole bunch of younger. They had a couple, but not a lot. So I started going. I was sitting in there. And next thing you know, I'm on the corner selling bean pies and final calls with him. And T-Cell was in that class with me too.
T-Cell, yeah.
T-Cell was in that class with me too. You know who else?
Yeah, Faraji. Faraji Ball. Yeah, that was a good brother. Yeah. Yeah, I was a couple of shows and stuff back in the day. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, I know Faraji. That's my guy. That's my guy. I can't help but be funny, yo. That voice, that commentator's voice. He always had it. Yeah. Darren Muhammad, yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Right. Yeah. You know I know. Yeah. Yeah, you know we know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Theology school for a minute. Like I said, the whole time I'm still running the streets though.
Right.
But I just knew it was a higher purpose.
Right.
And I always knew it was a God.
Right.
So, and I always liked knowledge. So I just kept seeking.
Right.
And yeah, so I can remember while I'm studying theology on my own before the school, I started seeing certain little things that kind of was like, why y'all ain't teaching this outside?
Yeah.
Why they say this, but then outside y'all teaching this? It don't add up.
Yeah.
And a pastor told me one time, I think like a Muslim, and I snapped back instantly like, I am.
I was raised that way.
Right.
I was raised with all these.
You know what I'm saying? Like so it kind of after that, like I said, I still running the streets for a while. I had a situation. So you know, I got a son that got type 1 diabetes. My 5-year-old got type 1. And this is around the time frame where I'm driving. I started the hot shot company where I was going over the road with the pickup and the flatbed, right? And by this time, I done read Tao Tai Ching, I done read Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, Confucian. You know what I mean? I looked at Confucius. I done read a little bit of everything. I done read myself so silly where we get to is we don't realize that some knowledge is not beneficial. It's just head knowledge. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it is just, if it don't make sense to you and you can't apply it to your life, you can just regurgitate it for sure. But where it's showing up in your life, it ain't showing up in nothing. So I noticed what I ended up realizing that I learned more from war books. The Red Book, the Mao Red Book, Art of War, Before They Lost Their Power, I read all the Green Jones. The Green Book, Revolutionary Suicide, Blood in My Eye. I done read, especially Panther. That's just background. So so I was, just for me, the things that I could apply more.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you manifest at the same time, but it's about what you're manifesting.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
The thing is, with manifestation, you gotta realize within that the power that is not yours.
This is where we go wrong within that realm. This is just for me studying. Am I still into it? Not at all. But the power of manifestation still lies within the creator.
Absolutely.
And you're not the creator of the power being manifested. You know what I'm saying?
This is where I see a lot of people go wrong with that, because manifestation is the arrogance for a lot of people. And then you can get God. Because you think if you manifest it,
That's already been there before you was be there after you. Yeah.
So once you start to intertwine, you got to think every single thing with one another. You can't come up with a solution. You don't matter and you find a solution. You don't intertwine every problem, that problem that you learn. You're working on this problem alone. How we do things will be everything will be critical. So we believe in time. But because you ain't boiled down to one direct mind, you'll never get the direct energy or whatever you want.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because you ain't take the time to direct.
You see what I'm saying? And I just think where we come from, this is a big thing.
Yeah.
Where we learned a little bit of everything, and we jump around so much, and we seem not to master nothing to self, because our brain is scattered. Even me, I've been there.
It's a part of the process. You know what I mean? You know, and for most of the people out here,
it's like, shooting in the dark. You see what I mean? I know, because for me, what really brought me out of the religion that I was raised in was seeing the BS. You see what I'm saying? So, and then when I get to question stuff, and you get to the end with not having, people don't have answers. You know what I mean? It's just like, but in my family, like, they always referred you to somebody else when you got to a certain point. You know what I'm saying? So you like, even still, like brothers that you brought up, like Carlos Muhammad, you know what I mean? I got a lot of big respect for him because he never dibbled and dabbled outside of what he was raised to be. And a lot of those other brothers did. You see what I'm saying? And I was there young watching all of them grow up. See, and I grew up in the churches, you know what I mean? Yeah, right. So and my family, a good mixture of Muslims, Moors, Masons, Christians. So in my family, I got pushed around into all those circles depending on what questions I was asked. You see what I'm saying? I got an uncle that just passed. He was one of the highest ranked Masons. You know what I mean, in the state. You know what I mean? He could go anywhere like internationally and they recognize him. You know what I mean? He's like a historian too. So he traveled to these big lectures and stuff. He like, this is a part of your lineage. And you supposed to be a Mason. This is the only thing. And then when I go and speak to anybody else in the family, they say the same thing. You supposed to be, we all Muslim, you supposed to be Christian. Why you run your mouth on the internet like that? You was raised to it was like I was raised to be all that shit. You see what I'm saying? Is which why, I had to find what it was for me. And it was the combination of things. It's not the pick one, everybody else wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? You're picking what's best for you. And how do I apply that in my life to make life better? Not to judge everybody else's life and their decisions. That shit is on them. You see what I'm saying? So, for me, and then it gave me a more well-rounded perspective to be able to sit down and converse and have conversations and educate and learn from anybody. Where sometimes, our religious and political beliefs can draw lines in the sand that you can't cross. You know what I mean? Because even still, the questions in my family, when I came across astrology and when I came across, you know what I mean? Islam, I sat in the background and just kept quiet. I wasn't the person that wanted to be up there. I was the person that was pushed to be up there because I read everything. You know what I mean? We always had these little religious and political debates. We'd be in high school, nigga, like 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. We always had that philosophical side, but we'll still step out this door and crack your ass on the football field or outside in the street. You know what I'm saying? So, that's another major part of this show, bro. Another major part because I was talking to my other brother, Gip, you know what I mean? And Gip was, he was talking about his brother. His brother did 32 years in jail. I remember when his brother got locked up. I remember the reasons. I remember being around all the craziest shit that was going on at the time. He was too young to see a lot of the shit that was going on. His brother just a couple years older than us, right? This brother became a full Muslim, full high priest and that shit. Like I don't know every level, every version of but which lineage or version or genre of Islam that he is. So I don't want to be disrespectful. So you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say if he's imam and he's not. He said, no, brother, you know what I'm saying? You know how everybody be. So, but the fact that he is that, the fact that most of the brothers that came up with us became that, out of all that we've been through, show that that's who they always were. You had to survive what you were thrown up against. You know what I'm saying? And now, out of all that, this is what you become. You didn't stay to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see what I mean? You know what I mean? So, before I run off the deep end, like, real crazy with all this stuff, I'm going to spin the mic around, because I know Jib, she had questions and stuff they wanted to ask. You know what I mean?
How you start these companies?
Yeah.
What was your first, with your first thought with, like, I'm going to start a company,
man. I'm going to just be straight up and down honest with you, bro. My first company, how I looked. Selling weed.
Okay.
That's how I view it.
Okay.
I sold weed since I was in high school.
Yeah.
Right. So you've been a company.
I've been a business.
Right.
That's how I view it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So how you transition it to the positive aspect, like the construction,
See, that's how I think, right? This is just my view, right?
Yeah, that's it.
My view on this is the only transition you really actually got to make is not following what other people is telling you to do. The hood has never seen legitimate business, first and foremost. We have never seen legitimate business in the hood. Everybody in the hood wants to run their company like the dope game. Every single one of them. This is why they never
had those some claps in there on that, bro. We gotta have this conversation.
For sure.
Gotta have this conversation.
Never get big enough. If you're running your business like it's the dope game, because you want your money right now and you want your money up front and you pressing somebody over these couple $100, you ain't never going to do big business.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Because that ain't how how it works. So, for me, I mentioned the bud thing, right? Because this is how I always did it. I'm gonna get I was a back end dude. I'm gonna supply everybody, and I'm gonna get all my money on the back end. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna wait till all the money come. Everybody eat first. That's why first and foremost, why I kept a team. So it's the same reason why I keep employees to this day. I'm the last person to get paid. The only thing I gotta keep open is the business. So the business insurance is paid. The business building joint is paid. You know what I mean? Everything paid for. We got materials we need, yada yada. That we might not got the best materials, we might not got the biggest, yada yada yada. One thing for sure, two things for certain. You're gonna respect the work ethic. You're gonna respect how all my guys coming in there with the same shirt on. Same shirt and pants on. You see what I'm saying? It's the small things like that. When you on the block, which half the time you on the block, all y'all coming out fresh, and more than likely y'all got kind of close to the same thing on. Y'all might got the back. If we was young, you had the bomber on, you had the Scully on, you had some Timbs on. You see what I'm saying? So like, it's the same thing. You just can't take that game into business. That's all it is. Right. That's the only thing it is. You still got to put your money up front if you're going to make big money. You still got to be solid. You still got to tell somebody what you ain't going to do. I know too many dudes I knew too many guys from Baltimore that do business. And they know they can do everything. Oh, I do that too, yo. Oh, I do that too, yo. I don't use people that do that, bro. As soon as somebody tell me, I got a towel drawer, I can do towel. Well, I got a bathroom. I do bathrooms too. I can do everything. I don't use them. Cause what's your specialty? I want your special work. Whatever you special with. But that's outside. When you outside, when the dude want to be the hustler, the killer, when he want to be everything, do you trust him?
Okay.
You can't, cause he got too many hats he wearing, and you can't tell who he is.
He might come and get you.
He gonna come and get you. Only because he ain't never happy.
Never.
He ain't never satisfied. And I'ma hunt you. Only reason I'ma hunt you because I already see it in. And I'ma use you. I'm gonna use you as a rag doll the whole time because you're so thirsty. I'ma set you up. People ask why business is so nasty because half the time the only people that live in business realms, the sharks out here, have been sharks in other realms.
For sure.
And if you don't know your realm, if your path, it's going to eat you alive. But you cannot take the dope dealing business model. I'm going to take $10 and make 100. I'm going to take 5,000 to make 100,000. You can't take that idea. The only time that worked was with crack. And people were horrible crack dealers. I wasn't good at selling crack. You see what I'm saying? I remember when on garages, bro. I stood up. My cousin had me out there when I'm young, like 10. Pregnant lady walk up. I'm not. She's pregnant. He looked at me and said, so? What you mean, so? She's pregnant.
Right.
He like, yo, get out of little Brian smack. Yeah, get out of here, nigga. Somebody gonna give it to him.
Yeah.
And he gave me my first joint because I started hooking school and all that. Here, bro, take this, and this is how I learned. Like I say, my first thing was, all right, I gotta pay him back.
Yeah.
How I'm gonna spread this much around. He want the money by a certain time.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I started dropping little packs. I'm bagging up the joints. You see what I'm saying? I already crunched my numbers. You know what I'm saying? So if you can do that, you can start the business. You got to get the insurances. You got to put in the time. It's not going to happen overnight. Meeting people and how you conduct yourself with people is everything in that round, in any round.
Yes, sir.
But consistency. We were just talking about how when O'Brien doing something now, let me support him. When that support wear off, and then your work ethic ain't nothing, or the quality of your work ain't nothing. This is where you see most companies fall off.
Yes, sir.
Where it was like, I just Johnny a couple dollars. I helped him. He didn't do a good job, but you know, I helped him out. I don't want to be no victim, business victim. Don't give me help because you think, you know what I'm saying?
Everybody ain't gonna like you though.
Yeah, no. I don't.
Everybody ain't gonna root for you.
They got the most to say. They always talking negative.
No,
and
actually,
it makes
I know they're the biggest promoter.
Yeah.
Because as long as you
They can talk about you, but not what you do.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Correct.
They gonna talk bad about you as a person,
Yeah.
but your product or your business,
Yeah.
business format, they
Yeah.
can't say nothing about it.
Yeah.
And you don't know how. No, real quick. I just want to make this real quick statement. You don't know how many people started following us or got behind something that we was doing because something another person said to them on some hating shit. People check in and tap in and check, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and be like, damn, this nigga, they really be on some shit. And this nigga over here, you know what I'm saying? So many times, yo, yeah, because of what people say, you know what I mean? Yeah, my bad. Go ahead, shit.
No, you're good.
Mhm.
But going back to this structure and having the right people, how do you go about
Have no power or will. I really don't pick them. I let the work ethic pick them. I really I believe honestly, just my format is I leave everything up to God. It's as strange as that probably would sound to a lot of people. I have no power, no will. So if somebody come to me, I'll put it straight to them like this: you're gonna get dirty, and I'm gonna see if you last 3 days.
Yeah.
And they say it's tough to work with your friends and family. Do you?
Yeah. Me too. Mm-hmm.
I'm not bigger than the program.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, family. I never had. Well, I've always had my guard up about everything. So before I see something going too far, I'll cut it off. But family, I never had, other than no, not really. I don't see any. I can't say that family is worse than anybody else. I think if you're not paying attention, anybody can do you wrong, and you can allow anybody in too far. So I got started on doing this style of work. I do have a underground utility company. I do excavation, right?
Okay.
So and mostly emergency spot excavation. So when you see like the machines in the middle of the street and they digging down right there in that one spot, that's what I did that for. I did that alone for like 17 years.
Congrats on that. Bro.
I got in a felony program, and it was one of the programs where they pay for you to go to school after. So after I got out of the situation or whatever, I got in the felony program. They was either going to pay for you to get your CDLs or go to like the truck driving school or 5,000 towards college. 5,000 towards college was stupid because that was only one semester.
Right.
So I said, I'm gonna get my CDLs. Father had CDLs. You know what I'm saying? I said, I'm pretty savvy on the trucks real quick, so I'll figure it out. Finish that. I'm looking for a job, and I found a spot on Park Heights that was a utility company that needed a dump truck driver, but that needed a Class A because he was pulling around the machine. So you see the dump trucks with the big machine on the back. I started off doing that. By this time I'm 25. I really ain't never had no real job. Like I've been, I might go make a little re-up money and you know what I mean, a little dibble dabble and or have a little junk here and there to put with that, surviving. And Ari Harrington, he was on Park Heights at one time. He's from Park Heights, and fired me within like a month. I never forget it, bro. Fired me he's like, man, you don't know how to drive. You gotta go somewhere else. My first first day there, the run, I walk in, I'm happy because I'm, you know, this is my first time really doing something in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, how you doing, sir? Yo, looked at me like, is you getting in the truck? Bet. Like, what this? Didn't realize until I started doing the work. Why? You it's a cloth you cut. I'm thinking I'm in a different round. It wasn't a different round. You see what I'm saying? It was the same round, especially being a business owner. You see it all, you hear it all, whatever. Show me. He sent me to another company. I've now learned how to really drive at that other company. Like this other company was a Phipps. All these was minority business, minority MBE. It's called Minority Business Exchange. This is where the city, basically the state, they give 8% of all contracts to minority businesses, no matter what contract it is. You sign up, you know, you become part of MBE, and you know.
Right.
And so yeah, I worked when I watched him go from being a analyst office on Park Avenue, small office, all the way up, all warehouse, and I watched him go from that to multi-million-dollar company in a matter of couple of years, all on free. Not buying brand new machines, keeping the same crew around.
Yeah.
I mean,
The ones that got it.
Yeah. And I also watched a couple times where some other companies that he worked for, that he was doing work with, on some basically, nigga, you should have never got here type thing. You know what I'm saying? So construction, let's just be real, man. It's kind of mob based.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
From conception. Yeah.
For sure.
It's from the union thing and all that. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's rough. It's really rough, man. Especially when they started climbing. Like, so even for me now, like when you in this, like I say, they look for us to come with the dope boy mentality. They used to. I call it, and I'm just, you know, and this is a start for love. This is nothing about nothing, but I haven't found no other way to say this, but nigga business. They looking to do nigga business.
Yeah.
They coming at you with that shit.
Yeah. They come at you with it.
Yeah, because that's how they used to dealing with you.
I mean, you know, that's typically also how they are trained to look at you. You know what I mean? It's just an American thing.
And ain't nobody breaking that mold.
Yeah.
And then when they meet the dudes that break the mold, I tell you this though, you break that mold, when they come at you with that, like, no. Get out of here, yo. Listen. All right, well, I ain't trying to offend you. This is just, like you say, this is what I know. I ain't never met one of you yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where the difference come in.
Absolutely.
Whereas, like, y'all don't approach me like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And then they become intimidated by you.
They're intrigued and intimidated at the same time.
Yeah, because you know they taught all of this bullshit. You know what I mean? So you know, and then at the end of the day, your work ethic is supposed to show them better. Because me and she'd have been all over this country working for different companies in different fields, and you know, everywhere you go, you gotta start from scratch with putting them on game. Like, bro, I ain't the one. Don't play with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm here to do this business. Don't get my, you know, positive demeanor and disposition misunderstood. You know, so you know, she just always get on me because I pull somebody to the side real quick. Like, look, bro, like we can go over here in this corner and knock it out and still have to go back here and do this job. But she ain't gonna keep talking crazy to you in here while we try to handle like, I don't get down like that. You know what I mean?
Watch a company go from a smaller company to a multi-million-dollar company from an exceptional dude.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, my business model, I already had business sense from because I never stopped outside. I actually just increased everything outside because now I got funding. Now I got backing. So now the homies is on for real. He was getting the homies to do little work with us for. You see what I'm saying? Hey Brian, bring your boys up here to do some work. And that's how I really started. Like, yo, y'all learn this.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. So when we doing stuff on the side, when I got a little side jobs, yo, come help.
Yeah.
And just knock it out real quick.
Yo, that right there is a major part because there were a lot of guys
in our neighborhoods growing as we we grew up that did the same thing. One of them being Rennie, you know what I'm saying? Spike. There were a lot of other guys, just older guys who were running their contract businesses, construction businesses, and they always came and grabbed folks in the neighborhood. That way, at the same time, they gave us trades, but they also got to put good words in our ear when they seen us out here knuckleheads. They gave you the opportunity to get off the block, get out of the neighborhood. I mean, like, was Rennie them, they took us all the way down to Atlanta, Florida, to do contracts, and that was our first time as kids seeing a lot of stuff. And they see a whole bunch of raggedy ball kids come through with gold teeth in their mouth, and we come and remodeled your whole house and got out of there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So big shout out to him for that, because you gotta have those folks that do, like, just like you said, man. The brothers that come through and pass that baton. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. So and then also surviving those years
was a motherfucker. So we talking the big business stuff and the community stuff, and but it was real shit that we had to survive to get to this point, and which is another major part of the show, the mental health side, because we came up going through some shit, seeing some shit, like, and a lot of folks don't realize like the backstories of us. So the whole point is to give them that as well, because I survived some shit, he survived, she survived. You know what I mean? And Baltimore kind of got this mentality like you're like stand alone. Like, you, just because of what you went through in your world, you don't realize that everybody around you went through it. You know what I mean? So, and we can kind of attack each other with that. So that's a major part of the show. You know what I mean? Is telling those stories, bro. Because I know when we was coming through school, like we said, we always tripped. We smoke, joke, party, have a good time. But all of us was also hustling at the same time. And we always looked at it like it was something we had to do to take care of our own individual selves. And during those years, we went through some traumatic things. And, as long as as long as you're cool with talking about a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the audience, the younger generation primarily, need to hear these stories and how you survived it and what you did to move on to get here. Because we talking about the business and the community and stuff, but they don't be realizing when they be looking at these old heads, like what they went through, and they're not surviving it. They're not surviving it, bro. So it has to be some serious conversations, because you brought up earlier in the conversation how your older cousin put the work in your hand, and
but a lot of folks don't.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of us be that survive those times and mentally still there. It's a lot of old niggas out here that still think they're gonna fucking up.
Stand out here and sell drugs. Keep going back and forth for the past so many years. I literally just got off the phone. Yeah, and I got off the phone with one. You know what I'm saying? Right when you showed up, I was talking to LS. He's sitting on a 10-year bid. Because he still think he gonna step out here and jam. And we in our 40s, bro. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I got a younger brother that been in there. 20 plus. More than that.
Really, but 20 bucks. You see what I'm saying? So like you say, it's rough, man. It took me a while to realize it wasn't normal. First and foremost, you gotta realize it.
But for me, it wasn't until I left Baltimore that I realized that it wasn't.
I did all.
Same here. We never was. Like, we came up in those circles, we could say these names of different brothers that we came up around with. Even still, like, certain brothers years later that I crossed paths with, I got into it with. Like Darren Muhammad. I got into it with him real bad. You know what I'm saying? And still, much love and respect to all of them now. Those are growing pains. Because he don't realize that I was still one of those little brothers that came up looking at him, and then older seeing you carried a certain way, and now I gotta approach you about your mouth. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, and much love and respect to the bro, because we all had words and all ironed it out over time. You see what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, it was some traumatic stuff that happened to us through those high school years. We saw a lot of death. We was around a lot of death. People died literally in our circles, in our presence. You see what I'm saying? And you lost your cousin in those shit. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of them. And we were all around when it happened. You know what I mean? And still, like, we was talking the other day about how all of us took it differently. Like some of us became horrible drug addicts. Some of us became horrible alcoholics. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us became hermits. It's hard for them to come outside and come around, and you see what I'm saying? So it was like, yeah, you know what I mean? And then folks will look at me and was like, yo, you was wilding back then. And then we sit and had these conversations about what happened. And it was like, yeah, of course I was wilding, nigga. That happened. How the fuck we couldn't have conversations with our parents about that shit. We didn't have, you see what I'm saying? And I always prided Jib on just his attitude around things. Because he was another brother that always kept a positive disposition about shit. When it was hard for me to bottle that shit. Niggas like, yo, that's why they called me the wild child. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy, right? Let me give you a little bit. Brother James from up number 5.
Okay.
I grew up under him and around him. Him and his brother.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like you said, like where we live at, it was like
Y'all neighborhood.
Respect, bro. Like,
Yeah. We was out here, and we had all those brothers hitting us with that stuff, and at the same time trying to survive some traumatic situations. But in the midst of all of that, you know what I'm saying? You got caught up mentally, spiritually. You know what I'm saying? Just like I did. And I just want you to be able to speak on that, because in those times I didn't realize it. Because I was still going through what I was going through and felt like everybody dealt with their situations better when I was always the one zapping the fuck out and going the fuck up.
Like you was the one
Right.
when you was doing it yourself.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was like, how did you get through that, bro? How did you know what I'm saying?
It's the thing, right? So I got a sister that died when I was 8. This is kind of, I narrowed it down as I got older to be able to deal with it, right? My first memory. This is the part that was really hard to deal with. My very first memory I had for a long time was seeing my sister come across the TV dead. For years. I'm talking not years, my whole life.
Yeah, seeing that.
It's up until now where it's not where I can remember before that a little bit. But my memory really don't kick in
to that
until 8.
To trauma.
That one traumatic memory, seeing her dead. That day, I made a post about this not that long ago, and people think things funny because it do be funny, bro. Because once you think about it, it's like this nigga's a fool.
Yeah.
I said before that, all I can remember at one time was telling people I was from California. Only because my whole household is from California. My whole house is from California, so everybody that talk like they Cali, they moving like Cali. You see what I'm saying? My uncle, they throwing up seeds sometimes. So mine, where you go this weekend? I went to Crenshaw. The day I saw my sister come across TV, I walked outside, realized one of the palm trees outside. Like reality.
Yeah.
In Islam, and it got a hadith. It says, don't quote me on it fully, but it's basically saying death makes reality.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
I know this is one of the reasons why, like I say, Islam works for me, because when I read it, a lot of things that I went through, it directly touches on. So that's the reality of it was that. Then after that, it was like, she's my best friend. We had 2 different mothers, but because my father was in jail, my grandfather kept all of us together. So they would be him and she would stay at my house, I stay at her house. My grandfather had us almost every weekend. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when it happened, man, I can just remember a million questions. And then I stayed over my grandfather's house even more with the older cousin. So her and my older cousin was around the same age. The one that I'm telling you that was around Gwinnett. Yeah, so what ended up happening is, like you say, I'm growing up, but I'm kind of dismembered already. So the anger kind of thing, I bottled it instantly. You see what I'm saying? And it was, I remember after her, I neighborhood was different. Because you gotta remember, we was growing up in the midst of when crack started getting
Yes, sir.
popular.
Yes, sir.
And I'm living on Pimlico Road. Like, what everybody don't understand is if you don't know Baltimore,
Yeah.
when you hear Park Heights, honestly, you never hear in Pimlico Road. You'll see Park Heights, but once you get on Pimlico Road, you turning back on Park Heights.
Yeah,
I
the road
guarantee
boys
you.
get with you.
I guarantee.
Get with you from
It
top to bottom.
ain't no doubt about it. It don't matter
Top
what
to
side.
bottom. You know what I'm
It don't
saying?
matter. And it's from, and you know, we was growing up, how Pimlico Road was always structured. This is why Baltimore adapted. This is another situation, but this is probably why Baltimore adapted to gang culture so easily. Because if you remember, we was growing up. If you walk past 3 blocks, you might walk around this way. You might walk this way. You might walk that way. And that's why gang culture. Because even me growing up on Pimlico Road, I couldn't walk to Virginia unless I was with my mom. I live a block away from Virginia. I couldn't. I walked down Wiley because I got family down Wiley, but my family ain't down there. But I knew one thing I wasn't going to do is go across to the ranch.
Right.
I'm a kid.
Yeah, you already knew that.
You see, I'm a kid. I know.
And you already know. You know what I mean?
Brian, yo, the Virginia niggas walking down the street.
Uh-huh.
Or Lil Brian, come outside. Yo, Lil JoJo. My first fist fight, yo, was, and this, like I say, this is after all this with my sister. I had this time, I'm sitting there, my toys don't look the same no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you got, yo, JoJo in the alley, yo, you the youngest one, go beat JoJo up. But mind you, my mom from Cali always had this thing. I guess Cali was always a place where the culture was always mixed up. Yeah,
Yeah,
culture from everywhere.
yeah.
Baltimore was so segregated, she never got used to it. So my mom would put me in programs all over the place. I was in a martial arts program. So, off top, in the hood, when niggas doing all this, I was weighing niggas out when we was younger. Only because I had trainers in the martial arts and the boxing, and you know what I'm saying? My mother kept me away from the alley as much as she could, but she couldn't keep me away from where we was living.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, that growing up around there with situations like losing your sister, watching your father already in jail, you already mimicking your life around this dude, and everybody father ain't here. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, Pimlico Road is rough.
Yeah.
Look Pimlico Road up, you'll see. You know what I'm saying? If you're not from around here, you'll see. And it's just one of them areas like, where your father? Where your father? Where your father? You know yours? I ended up saying, well, at least I know mine, because half the niggas around don't even know they pops.
Yeah, and shit, all the niggas up down that road knew my father because he was an addict. If your father was around, he was an addict rolling up there. My grandmother lived on Oswego. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So in Pimlico Road, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and then
At one time, Pimlico it was more called Pimlico than Park Heights when we was younger.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah, you
Them
already
back
know.
alleys was a
it was the
motherfucker, boy.
alleys.
Yeah.
That's where, bro.
Yeah.
So I walk out the house, I'm just jump, boom, boom, I'm in the alley right there.
Right there, yeah.
So I sat on half the nights on Fridays. It seemed like we was watching movies on the floor because we knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I never seen my mom. My mom an orphan. My grandmother OD'd when my mother was 14. My mother don't even know her father. And then she came straight to Baltimore at 14. Had me 4 years later. So I never seen my mother complain about this. Never seen her talk about it.
Never buckled.
I never buckled. She ain't want no handouts, no nothing. So for me, if I'm watching this woman do this, and all I want to do is be a man, that's all I want to do at this time. I'm in the house with 5 women. Her and her sisters and my aunt. My uncle was a pimp. My uncle, he only nigga walked around Baltimore with a pressing curl my whole time. He come downstairs, he got rollers in his hair. Like, so I'm really thinking I'm in Cali at the time when I'm growing up. So, and to him, he carried it like a pimp. And I thought he was a fool. So everything around me just was, after my sister died, everything was just, to me, was just building anger.
Yeah.
So my mom ended up trying to find outlets all the time.
Right.
But like you said, watching my father in jail, to me, it was man, your birthright is to go to jail. That's just how I look at it.
Community, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? My mom, being an orphan and watching her, how she moved, telling me what a man's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Or this how I meant. She only modeling what she think a man should be. She ain't got one. She don't even know a father. Don't even know a mother. She modeling off of, like you say, what you want your child to be.
Right.
Ended up biting her ass as I got older. It was one of the things like, you gotta get out my house.
Yeah, right.
You see what I'm saying? Because I knew it was like you said. It was just one of them things where you watched enough. Nobody dealt with they own issues. It was kind of regular to just act like it, not act like it wasn't happening, but keep it pushing because we ain't got time and we ain't got the finances to deal with this. You know what I'm saying? And like Wayne said, I think by the time we was in middle school, they started that school to prison pipeline. Me personally, the system ain't help because I know a lot of brothers that got PTSD. I had it. To be honest with you, I still got traces of it. Wayne, I'm sure Wayne still got traces of it. You see what I'm saying? They'd never give us a check for growing up in war zones.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And
you can't help it, but you know what I mean. And that's why, like I said, it's a major part of this show, bro. You know what I mean?
I understand that, bro. That's why I admire you. I remember we talked last time, bro. I admire that, bro, because just being a man. I told you I was talking to Kenya. I talked to Kenya Butler not that long ago.
Shout out to Kenya.
He was like,
Mama.
He was like, yo, we need it. He said, yo, we need to start he said, I'm gonna start a man's therapy group. I said, let me know, bro. I know a bunch. Half of us will be there.
Yeah.
Even.
I mean, and just he talk about it all the time. Us just having these conversations and stuff, and then at the same time, because of the fact that we have gone through it, we just need to have roundtable discussions about it. Because a lot of men are not going to have that conversation out loud. We're always taught to bottle your feelings and all these things, but at the same time, you are a human being, and that those feelings are going to have an outlet somewhere. It's going to come out. It's going to spill out some way, somehow. You know what I mean? That's how my hair started falling out. You know what I mean? I still got patches all over my head to the day from this aggravation stresses I went through years ago. You know what I'm saying? And I had went to the hospital about to see me. They sent me to a dermatologist and all these other folks, and they told me it was alopecia areata. I said, well, what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? She said, your immune system picks up the stress and depression in your system, and it eats your hair follicles. You know what I mean? Because it has it's looking for the illness. You know what I'm saying? And your hair follicles either right, trying to find where this shit is. You know, that's what autoimmune deficiency is. I couldn't fucking believe shit. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like when I started years later linking up and we started having these conversations, and then we sit around and everybody get to going. You remember when? You see what I'm saying?
I'm telling you last time, you know what? I agree with the last time I was in Jasper.
Because I didn't remember a lot of that stuff until we started talking. I started getting little tics. And then forgiving yourself. Let me tell you.
That's a major part of it.
Bro. Another reason why I picked Islam. Islam, see, and I'm not going here for just because I know this word is very controversial. The word jihad does not mean war.
No.
The word jihad means a spiritual, or basically a spiritual path within self, a war with self.
The spiritual awakening.
The spiritual awakening within self, going to war with what you have to look at in yourself. So if you're not willing to look within yourself and forgive yourself, but actually look at the reality of the things you have done, you'll always want to be young. You got all these dudes over the 30s, the new 20 and all that. The only reason you saying that is because you don't want to look at yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you can't look at yourself, you can't grow. If you can't look at yourself, you're scared to die. You know what I'm saying? When I first got into true Islam, like, Sunni Islam, not make this Jude, when you prostrate, put your head on the ground. Kept getting this thought, watch your back. In my head, bro. Watch your back. I'm home alone. Ain't nobody in my own house. Why I keep thinking this? Sad with it. And I had to realize that so much happened to me. And I was such in this mind frame to where watching my back, I couldn't even trust myself alone. That's horrible. I ain't trust myself alone, man. Yeah.
Mic check. My mic's
Cool with my head.
I'm still in.
That might be my headphone. You know. Mic check.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad, y'all.
I still don't hear though.
You still don't? Say it again. All right.
No, say it. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, my bad, though. Go ahead, D.
No. Yeah, I was.
The head,
scared.
hand in your head.
I was scared.
Watch your back. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I couldn't trust myself.
Yeah.
I was scared of reality. I was scared of my own thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And I that was probably the first time I actually broke down and actually cried. And I actually felt proper healing that moment.
Wow.
By this time, I'm 34, 35 or something like that. So, up until that point, I think I was just coping. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would find ways, I would justify to deal with things. I did that because of this. Oh, yeah, I wasn't right, though. That wasn't right, but I did it because, you see what I'm saying? Like, I did it because of this. It's because of where I'm from, I did this. And justifying.
We all have to justify it in our head while we're doing something that we are not supposed to do.
If you're not healing, if you're not growing, you are justifying to kind of just keep the blanket over the pain that you're going to give yourself. You see what I'm saying? You're going to give yourself pain. And a lot of people try to do their best to bypass pain. They say, I did it for the best of everybody. That's why your mama used to say that. I did it for the best of you. What else was I supposed to do? You were supposed to really let it kick in and be like, you know what? I ain't doing this because this is going to affect all others.
Yeah. And you said you felt that instant healing. What was that?
Best way to put it. You ever read something one time and then ended up it seemed like a color scheme ended up bonding with the thought and it instantly kind of just became a part of your life without you reading it again? That's what that was, but with not a mental part. I felt it in my heart. You know how Islam talk about dead hearts? So in Islam it talk a lot of things about black dots in your heart and not being able to feel your heart.
I think you should be able to feel your heart. The only time we feel our heart is when we probably at a heart attack. But as I've grown to understand
I'm doing it. I can feel in my heart when it's healed. I can feel in my heart when I'm about to do something wrong. The numbness is gone. So it's like it's removing these things out of my heart. You know what I'm saying? So now I can tell when I'm about to do something, it's like, that ain't right. Or when it's healing, it's like, thank you. And we attribute that to pain most of the time. When we start to feel something in our chest, it's like, oh, that's pain. Bro, that's growth.
Yeah. We've been definitely taught all of the wrong shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
we talk to ourselves improperly.
right.
We should not. This is just for me, right? You might want to I don't understand people saying "I guess" at 40 years old.
Nah, man. Me either. Or faith. I don't understand faith at that.
Yeah,
at this
no,
age.
there's no such thing as
You
faith.
should be in the knowing, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
should know by now,
You
right?
should know.
Come
Faith,
on, bro.
faith is not, like I said. This is Islamic format.
Mm-hmm.
Belief and faith are not the same thing.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
Hope is
Mhm.
not a thing.
No.
You shouldn't be hoping for you.
Hell no.
You shouldn't be trying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say that all day, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to continuously do it over and over and over.
Right. Right.
Try is a word of a victim.
A victim, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You've never had anybody say try without,
Yeah, yeah.
when you have to have a try, the word I guess.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
Right,
all
right.
day.
You're
All
doing
day.
it or you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what keeps you in that limbo space. That's when I always tell folks about getting in the knowing, especially for religious people. You know what I mean? I watched your old ass grow up in this shit. And you know what I mean? And you still talking about faith? Nah, bro. You should know by now. That's what always keeps that 1 foot in, 1 foot out bullshit. You know what I mean? Not too many. You know what I mean? It shouldn't.
You know what I'm saying? Belief will come up. Oneness with God will come up. That word faith.
It doesn't break down properly within belief.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It don't. It really don't go together. Faith is something that faith and hope are basically the same word. Belief don't go in either one of those, because you can believe in something and just be locked there because I believe this. Hope is just like, what you hoping for?
Evidence of things not seen.
What you hoping for? I don't know.
Right.
Half the time when you're looking for hope and faith, you have no idea what you're looking for.
No
You just
effort.
got faith. That's it.
There's no effort, no work on your part.
Exactly.
You know, that's what I never really got out of it. You know what I mean? It always has to be some work on our part.
You know what I mean? Regardless of, But real quick though, bro. Run down a list real quick of just different companies and things that you've engineered and was working on, and you know what I mean, so folks get a full understanding.
Drink water in Baltimore City, more than likely, I done put the pipe in the ground that you're getting your water from. I know a couple brothers. The brother Stanley worked for DPW. We do the same kind of work. But I've done the storm drain outlets, inlets. A lot of more of the major valves. I've done that stuff when it comes to when I was working with Harrington. For myself, I actually my company, we clinked up where Park Heights Renaissance, right there on Park Heights, where they putting the new buildings at. I did. Remember how they had all this stuff out there? My company did the cleaning of that. We did that.
That was major.
Yeah, that was
Especially
that was my
Park
first
Heights.
major. That was
You
my
know what
first
I mean?
major joint. I did it for free.
Yeah, that was
I did
major.
it for free because that was an eyesore anyway. I did it for free. What else we do? Of course, we did the. I partnered with a couple schools to do some. This was back before, to do the community gardens. I built a couple community gardens under United Community Network and CIVN. Did some transport, and I did some over the road transport, expedited loads. If you want to get into something, you want to make some quick money. If you want to keep the dope boy mentality, look into hot shot trucking. If you like that little hustle and you want to keep that up, look into hot shot trucking. You gotta spend money to make money, but you get paid the next day after you drop the load.
No, that's a good drop rate. Need that info.
Hot shot trucking is a good, and you'll make out if you're a hustler, and you ain't scared to not being home all night long and every day. You'll make 5 stacks or more a week. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so now I do excavation mostly now. Excavation and utility line. My goal is for business, man. My goal is just to feed the brothers around me, man, and keep showing them what they, what I know. You know what I'm saying? So mainly, I keep it running to show them. You know what I'm saying? My my son is in electrician school right now. So I'm telling him, like, you know, I teach him how to excavate. He got a little understanding of it. So really, most of this, really, how I look at it, it ain't for me, man.
Yeah, everything that we do, bro.
Yeah.
It's primarily for that next generation. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't want to be one of the people that don't know that I'm a
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That believe in the lies,
Yeah.
down and get somewhere. Just the thing about
Yes, sir.
So get your ducks in the row. So business is a part of it. You know what I'm saying? The business will keep things going, but get your ducks in a row. And if you can teach your children proper knowledge, or anybody proper knowledge, they'll find their way.
Yes, sir.
They will find their way.
If they serious about it.
Exactly. As long as you don't misinform them and you kind of give them a good rundown, they'll find their way where they are,
for sure.
where they want to
sure.
be. And for real, for me, I dibble in the stock market. I think everybody should get a Charles Schwab account and not Bank of America and all these things. You see what I'm saying? Because now you're dealing with the bankers. You know what I'm saying? You're not dealing with the subsidiary banks that's charging you for money. You can put your money in Charles Schwab and you can buy some stock, and instead of you having a 401k with your job, because all the 401k is them giving the money to their homies in their stock market and building the money for you. Where you can go get an IRA through Charles Schwab. You can get everything you want through them, and you can invest in what you usually buy, what you like, and you can pull off as you want. You ain't got to wait 20 years to do it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we look at everything but what we need to. I think that this is all go to business with me. These are all things that kind of just go with proper business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think we need to understand that nothing changed in this country for black people other than being able to buy clothes. The only thing that we have gotten since the 60s was the ability to walk in their stores and spend our money.
Yeah, and that was because they needed our money.
That's because
You know what I mean?
we have saved Cadillac, we have saved Nike. We have given Ford all our money. Ford is the biggest white supremacist that you can think of. None of them wanted to do business with us. And then I sent it to you. Then they made a whole Paramount recording about selling to the black man.
Yeah. It
was a document. It was a special. On TV.
Yeah. And I used to show like the kids
and our youth programs down through the years, all of that stuff. So you can see how it was constructed. It was how society was constructed to look at us a certain way. And then I also show them what our people was doing prior. You see what I'm saying? So you can't. My father used to always say, "Boy, you can't have lightning without thunder." You know what I'm saying? You know, and we got to be able to show them that, to show them why they took so much effort to shut down our greatness. You know what I mean? Because at the same time, you know, it's like if all we see is us shaking our asses and fighting and shooting and street shit, like it's just that's all you think. You know what I mean? You gotta control your image. That is more important than any other bit of information that you can tell your child to go. And your job is to control the image. You know what I mean? Because once people take control of your image, we see what it look like. You know what I mean? They talked all this shit about hip hop and the ghettos and all that stuff when we was growing up in the 90s, and they bought it. And then did what they wanted.
Everybody out.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? We peeped the whole game, bro. So and then now our kids are falling for the act because we're not telling them what's real and what isn't, because a lot of us don't know. Like I'm saying, like folks like us, we came in and out of the industry, the streets, all these other different things, so we have a better understanding of how it works. It's not like these kids that are in the game now are actual artists. It's not like they're actually working on a performance and writing a song. The game is littered with people like me, ghostwriters. Everything is scripted. Every music video, every verse. You know what I'm saying? Even to the point down to when they sign these contracts, bro, These labels already have contracts with alcohol companies, pharmaceutical companies, jewelry companies, car companies, and all you're doing is selling their pills, their cars, their chains. You see what I'm saying? They're not even rappers anymore. They're all just actors. And our folks are growing up believing the bullshit. So, another reason again, I keep saying it while we had this show. Because we gotta have the conversations about what actually was done. Because we the ones that actually lived it. We the ones that actually writing their raps, their jokes, you see what I'm saying?
Sorry, even if I didn't know you, yo, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for falling short to it. For you know what I mean? I never fell into it so far where I promoted it, but I fell into it where I was a part of it.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing. Let me tell you something, B. This old head told us this years ago.
You know what I mean? And you can't be held liable, and you can't hold yourself guilty for a world that you had to survive. You see what I'm saying? Of course, we got to give ourselves forgiveness. You pray and ask for forgiveness for what I had to endure and survive to be here today. But so far as what goes on the TV screen and what plays across the radio, none of us have any control over it until we come together unanimously, regardless of our religious and political and neighborhood affiliations, community associations, regardless of any of that shit. We got to draw a line in the sand of where this shit is going to go with our children. And because we haven't done that, because all of our individual belief systems, and you know what I mean? We fall victim to it, bro.
And nowadays is everybody's done fell so far victim to talking too much that everybody go to jail. I've never been the one to do the police job for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I'm getting on a podcast and they ask me about Wayne, I say, yo, Wayne in '98? Yeah. So what he had was There's no stipulations on when I can lock you up for this shit. So when you're getting on there now, your neighborhood feuding with mine, but we've been so close to each other for so long. He know everything I did. I know everything he did. The feds got everything else, so the police in that area got everything else. All they doing is connecting the dots as you talking there. Now 300 of y'all going to jail because all I did was connect the dots to everything. And this is what podcast is now, honestly. Like hip hop podcast. This is why they got all these dudes on there that's from the streets. Because these dudes that talked about these other dudes so much, they popularized this. So now there's a dude on there every other day that you have no idea, ex-crackhead, he never had no scruples on this podcast. Now he talking crazy too, and they just putting all the rest of it together. Dirk's in jail now. There's a whole slew of people that go on Vlad and them that's in jail now. You see what I'm saying? Like New York, everybody got these things, and I used to say, "Damn, Baltimore needed time to shine." I'm glad it did, because I'm be honest,
a lot of people
I'll fuck around be in jail. A lot of us probably would.
Yeah, and this is why
just from how people talking.
And which why we keep our conversations centered around what we already went to jail and survived. What we already went to jail for, nigga. You ain't no statutes of limitations. We good. I'm cooked, nigga. I'm just my shit been in the window with 7-Eleven, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I definitely. Yeah. Right. And we the ones that need to be. Because you the ones that experienced and lived it, and none of these other motherfuckers had. They knew better. You know what I mean? They want to talk all crazy. You know what I'm saying?
I already did my time for it.
Yeah. And why the fuck do you keep letting the next niggas group of generation to fall for it? Listen, I get extra. I got me chill, yo, because I had a couple, bro. Hmm. 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 Yo, but it irks me that brothers that wasn't out there be the ones that's out here telling these little motherfuckers, yo, you got carried like this, and you got. It's like we just spoke with another brother. I had to lean on about football. I'm not gonna say his name and all that stuff, but it was other situations where we had to lean on a couple brothers that was from our streets, but they wasn't outside when we was outside, then doing the shit. And we telling y'all, yo, that's not what it is, my nigga. I wouldn't have sat and did all that time. I wouldn't have. I had money, nigga. I lost it to all that. You think I made all that money to give it to a lawyer? You thought that was my plan? Like, come on. So, yo, and then to see clown niggas step up and be talking this goofy shit to them irks the shit out. You know what I mean? Yeah, 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 yeah. And see, it was one thing when it was over the sports, when you know, so the conversation that we had, but it's another thing when these brothers standing out here talking this to these young brothers when you wasn't out there. You ain't got it like that now. You ain't about that life now, like just like you wasn't then. Come on.
That just goes to show that people, like I said, like we said earlier, the people that need to talk need to speak up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because this will affect us in the long run. We
All
still
of us,
have
bro.
kids and family out here.
All
And
of us,
these
bro.
people, you know, people run around with all this misinformation, going to wreak havoc.
Yeah. And then they say bad things happen because good people do nothing. And we wait to the last moment to say, all right, nigga, it's enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So look, even still, like when we talk about history and I get these lessons and stuff, man, she to do these PowerPoint presentations, whatever. But it always astonishes people that it took the world so long for everybody to unify and crack down on Rome. Rome ruled the world for 2,000 years with an iron, and then until 7-Eleven. But it wasn't. It didn't start at 7-Eleven. It started in 640 when they all were infighting. You see what I'm saying? To unify, to come out as the Moors, as one unified force behind Islam, to put a crush to you know what I mean? Rome. Yeah. From what was and in all actuality was here maybe almost 1,000 years before Columbus touched down because there's so much evidence of it. But there's another whole show. If y'all want to check this out, we do whole history lessons on it. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? We do whole joints on it. Yeah, yeah, because we forget that these people stripped us of our own history, and with that, they, came a lot of the cultures and a lot of the issues that Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
World to stop certain formats from touching the whole world.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
want to say Islam, but I have to say Islam.
Absolutely.
Because of how Islam was spreading at the time worldwide.
Yeah.
Islam has
for
never,
good and bad.
Islam has never wreaked havoc to the point where it destroyed places that weren't. They always coexisted.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It was always a coexist thing. So they never told other cultures like, oh, I don't like your culture. It was one of them things like, all right, well, can your culture cope with mine? Cool. They ain't like that.
Yeah.
Once they found out how Islam was spreading, like you say, before Columbus and all that, once they started seeing how it was spreading, their first thing was, we got to stop the spread. Hebrew, however, you say, we got to stop the Moors from coming from this side. We got to stop the Hebrews from coming from that bottom side of Africa. And we got to stop Islam from spreading anywhere.
Yeah. See, and this is the thing. I was in a couple debates years ago.
Well, some conversations a few years back when we was on Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. We used to be on Radio 1 years ago. Rest in peace to the big bro Pat. You know what I mean? But we had some sisters that was here from the Netherlands. You know what I mean? And one of them was from England, and not when I say sisters, it would make you think black women, these white women. When I say sisters, I'm just saying females. You know what I'm saying? But we had some ill conversations in Pat's basement after these shows and stuff. And the sister, I was barking about the black history and the slavery and the this, that, and the other. And then she hit me in the head with, well, white people aren't the ones that initiated. You know what I mean? Do you know that the word slave comes from the word fly? You know what I mean? I learned all this stuff and hit me with the books and the info to follow because we fail to realize that all of those years in Europe that they're claiming that that these people were white, they were black. All of those years before Constantine, before bro, the word Rome means house of Ra. You know what I mean? The people who migrated into Europe that built Greece were Minoans, who came from the island of Crete, and prior to that came from the Sahara Desert. All of these things were taken from us over time. Our Hannibal was the beast. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Crete. Yeah, these you know what I mean? So yeah, a lot of us. No, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Wiped out so much by European.
The pirates?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know why.
Yeah.
I know why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Piracy.
all of that was
hated.
yeah. And prior to the like a lot of it was still attached to the Moors and the Knights Templars and all of these different
They was the ones on the war.
They were the group that kept Europe in order. And when they first got rid of the Knights Templars, and from that point they got rid of the Moors, is when discord and disorder happened from that point on.
You know what I'm saying? Once the Moors gave over Andalusia.
Yeah. Granada. Yeah. Keep in mind that all of them too as well were still black. You know what I'm saying? So King and Queen Isabella, these were still, and again, like I learned that from white Europeans who also started to give me the books so that I can pass that information around because we too quick to blame this person and this group, not realizing it's another group greater than them. They're called black nobles. They're the ones who funded all of this stuff. You see what I'm saying? They've been running the world and the banking system for the past 1,500 years. And all these other. Yeah. You see what I mean? So, for us to get the bigger picture, we got to have a wider perspective, bro. So,
Ourselves, man.
Yeah. So,
you know what I'm saying? We really do. And we have to get off. One thing I like about social media is that it is giving the information. It's just not giving format. You know what I'm saying? It's not giving you format of how to apply or where to apply. And you still have this American ideal where it's just going to happen for you. You know,
this is unrealistic.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that my parents did not play. They did not play that imagination shit, that American dream shit. Yeah. Nigga, you better know, you better learn shit, and you better, you know what I'm saying? My mother gave us full book reports and all that, bro, outside of school. So when we came to like the history and all that stuff, I knew a lot of this stuff verbatim. And we be looking at a lot of old DVDs, and DVDs, old videos from the old, like the master teachers, you know what I'm saying, that ain't around no more. And then I look back at all these old tapes, and I be saying the shit that they said verbatim, because we were taught it and had to regurgitate this shit all the time. That I didn't even realize that I was saying the same shit verbatim that they were saying back then. You know what I mean? It's an amazing process, bro. You know what I mean?
I think just for me, being my mom went to those she was up in South Central. Growing up, I thought thought certain things were just normal, like you said. Like
Yeah.
the one thing that was different, I think the main reason why we made it, speaking on that, making it out thing, we made it to a point was because our parents made sure that we had certain things.
That's it. That's it, bro.
Parent, like
That's
my
it.
mama ain't want to be my friend. I'm glad she wasn't my friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if she was, I think I'd have ended up in jail.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm
Different.
Just talking about that.
Yeah, it was built
Kids
different. And
trying to be friends.
yeah, and
I
then
don't know where that came from.
Parents.
But you know, also because in those years of them growing up, there was always the parents that we could hang out with and kind of have some conversations with. Yeah, my mama didn't either. But at the same time, they were relevant because they were the ones that was at least watched over us. Well, we could go to them and say certain shit to them that I couldn't have with my mother because they was too religious at some point. You see what I'm saying? So you had those couple ones in the neighborhood, and then you had a lot of them that was just plain up and down to earth, bro. Fuck with the job, and they got all the education, they got the degrees. You know what I'm saying? But they still gonna be chilling in the hood, putting you on game. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
A lot of that goes wild focus.
Yeah, a lot. Well, and honestly, for me in my later years, like not gonna say later years, but more so coming out of high school in between that stage, it wasn't even none of the dudes. It was Jib's mother. His mother was one of the illest ones out there. You see what I'm saying? That I could really have him sit down, and she was one of the ones that be like, "No, look, you nigga." Like she could have that energy that I could have that conversation. Like, this is what it is. Like you getting this wrapped up with that, and you can't separate the two. You see what I'm saying? She was just a realist. She knew that, and that's it. We missing them. That's what's really because of the fact that the line is so drawn. And my nigga, like, we came up with some of the greatest people of our time. When we can sit and talk about the Carlos Muhammad's and all these brothers, we came up with the illest people of our time. You know what I'm saying? Like the Dr. John Reed Clark, like our parents brought these people in regularly and not knowing who they were until we got old enough to see that they were studying these guys in colleges and universities and all. You see what I'm saying? But still coming up around the most gangsterous, the most religious, the most political, we had it. Like, and that's what we're missing is that realist, you know what I mean? That brought it all together. You see what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of times it was difficult for me, my father, but all of the guys in the neighborhood went to my father and had those conversations with him. You see what I'm saying? Right. And he, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I didn't realize till after he passed. And then certain folks would be like, "Yo, how your father?" I'm like, "Man, he passed a couple years ago." Niggas broke down on me. Big burly buff grown ass niggas just came home from jail, grabbed my shoulder. "Oh my God, Mr. Donald died." You know what I'm saying? He's like, "Yo, his words helped me get through this, and he did this for my." I was like, "God damn."
Worked in the basement of the school.
Yeah, she was one of the real ones.
My mother helped so many. Like it'd be a lot. I go to school sometimes, bro, and some of them Wayne probably would think like I was crazy sometimes. Like, he was mad at me, like, "Yeah, why are you doing that to your mother, y'all?"
Yeah.
You don't live with her, nigga.
Right, yeah. I was one of the ones who pulled you up on that. Like, don't be wilding out your mother, yo. Like, hell no,
yo,
bro.
Brian, go home, yo.
Yeah, like, yo,
what are you doing? Yo?
Yeah.
Nigga, you don't live over there, nigga.
Yeah.
How was your mom, Brian?
That's beautiful, man. Oh, big shout out to that, man. Yeah, I gotta look off some shots for that for mom, shorty. Yeah.
Can't beat cancer and eat cancer. That's
Pull that mic over, bro.
Yeah, you can't beat cancer by eating cancer. So,
Yeah.
And then every time she said, "Well, I can't eat today," I said, "Well, I'll hook up a little." I was big on juice for a minute.
Juicing. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Great,
Well, I'm
great,
still
great.
big on juicing. hit her some veggies, hit her with the, you know what I mean, different roots and all.
Yeah.
And what happened with her was she started noticing how she felt because she going through chemo while she doing these things. So it's like, Brian, bring me some more of that.
Yeah.
Brian, bring me some more of that.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, she like hooked her up with the homie Jackie. My eye kitchen, man. Definitely look at bro. He got definitely hook you up with anything you need, any situation you're going through. And he put my mother down with a lot of things. And she ended up in remission.
Good mother,
So
bro.
she doing
Oh
good,
my
man.
God. God bless her. Big shout out to
I
mom
think
for
she
that.
went to the Coach Bonds joint that was put together.
Yeah. She was there. She was there. Oh man, I ain't see. I
You
definitely.
already know how my mama always look in the background.
Yeah, low
Key, always chilling in the cut somewhere. Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh yeah, man, it was chill. And then it's crazy because a lot of those folks I haven't seen in so long since those years, man. So it was just nothing but big love, bro. You know, them niggas, yeah, man. Them niggas ran my ass over in that building, man. You know what I mean? I'm thinking they come to get me the love. It's about Reeves and Coach Bonds. You know what I mean? They was them old heads in there, boy. We almost had to fight with a picture of Coach Bonds. You forgetting you in Baltimore? Them old heads will get right with you. They like, we was in class of '89, so y'all gotta move for real. I don't care about y'all little young niggas. Like yo. Man, bro, they will get with you. And I'm sitting there messing with them like, nah, shorty, I'm like, man, I'm just messing with y'all. Go ahead, yo. They ready to get with me for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? I used doing so just to push buttons, you know what I mean? They get to shaking and shit, you know it's about to go down. Them old Baltimore niggas get jiggly, you know what I'm saying? Niggas like, no nigga, who the fuck you this? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Niggas got jiggly as a bitch in there.
An old head. I seen this old head my whole life, right? But you know, he old. He one of them burnt out. He always burnt out. But he one of them ones that always had the block, and he always, you know what I'm saying? He one of them. He seen you seen him, but he older now, so he.
Yeah.
So I pull up at the light, swerve over. He kind of tried, but he trying to swerve in front of me. But it makes no sense for me to stop moving at this moment for him to swerve over. He leaned over because he in a truck now. You know, old dope fiend. Yeah, old dope fiend with money now.
Right.
Baltimore, the worst thing in Baltimore is old dope fiend with money now.
You ain't lying, bro.
You know it.
You ain't lying, bro.
You know who I am,
Yeah. Every time, yo.
Yeah. I did.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
He in the car.
Yeah. You know they get that jiggly shit.
Like he about to put the car in park and climb over the chair. I'm sitting there thinking, man, you was leave your old ass in that car, boy.
Chill the fuck
That's
out,
crazy.
Before you get hurt.
That's crazy.
Every time, yo.
Baltimore, bro.
That's
Yo,
crazy.
it never fails, bro.
That's crazy.
Yo, you already know. It never fails. You gotta check them. You always gotta check. Oh. Yeah. Oh, them 80s niggas. Oh. Yo, it's going at it, yo. They will get with you. They will be in your chest. Yeah. Yes, yo. Yeah. You got the goofball shit. Yeah, goofball shit you was on, nigga.
Can't even stand up.
They gonna tell me, you remember me, nigga? Yeah. Get your ass out the way, man. Sit the hell down somewhere. You know what I mean? Tripping. Yeah.
After that. I haven't met one from that age to do it. They'll try to jump down your throat, tell you who they used to be, what they was going through, what they going to do to you now, who they pay to do it. But they have not got past.
And that's that's that maturity and that pride, you know. And I always tell folks, arrogance and ignorance make a horrible combination. You see what I'm saying? It's one of the worst. You know what I mean? And I've been blessed with the opportunity that I had a couple brothers that checked me and checked themselves in front of me that told me like, bro, that shit wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of made me wise up to things. And then at the same time, because you have such respect for certain ones, it mattered that they say it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these folks, they going, because they came up under you, looking you carry it a certain way and move a certain way, get money off of that lifestyle. So it's imperative that you step up, man up, you know what I'm saying, woman up, whatever, and just, you know, go ahead and break bread with folks, man. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, every time. Every time. You know what I mean? Mhm. But I'm gonna tell you, D, I'm gonna tell you, it's the you part. I had to recognize that because every time I was involved in anything, whoever the adults were around in our hood, in the city, whatever, always checked me. You see what I'm saying? You the same way. Jay was the same way. Folks felt like they had to say something to you specifically outside of everybody else.
For what? And why?
Because of the fact that you had the energy and they could see in you that you had great abilities to be something great in the future. You see what I'm saying? But if you don't ever get that opportunity because of where you are now, you see what I'm saying? You would never be able to give that opportunity to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even the times that we weren't, bro. Because I was an aggressive, hot, and not realizing it. Yeah. They gonna tolerate you because they gonna check you. I remember one time, Rennie, I can't even say what I was doing. I was running down the street with guns. I was just say that. Running down the street with a gun. Allegedly. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly. You know what I'm saying? And he rolled by and saw me and was like, Wayne, what the I know that was not just you. What the fuck? Get the fuck in the car. You know what I'm saying? And he got to talking to me for so long that I fell asleep while he was driving. You see what I'm saying? This was middle of the night. He talked about 3 or 4 hours straight about, you know what I mean? What the fuck was going on? What he went through? He was mad that we witnessed it, and you know what I'm saying? And then when I woke up, we was on a fucking highway. You know what I mean? We was on our way down south somewhere. I just remember feeling the sun hitting my forehead and just rocking in the car and shit. And I was walking like, what the fuck? He just chilling and shit. Playing some Stevie Wonder and shit, like not even no hip hop, no some old school chill ass music. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is we going? You know what I mean? He like, yeah, we about to take this ride down the lane. I got Big Holly, a couple people make some moves with this real estate stuff. I'm like, what the fuck, nigga? You know how much shit I got? Yes. I'm like, you know how much shit I got going on right now. He's like, don't none of it even matter. Only person that matters is me howling at your mother, so your mother can howl at your daughter's mother, and everything squared away, and that's all good. So don't nothing else matter, nigga. You see what I'm saying? And took me fucking out of here for like a week or so. And just showed me a different life. Like, and then the whole time that we was down there, he had to constantly check me because of my attitude. Everywhere I go, I'm like, fuck you looking at? Fuck is y'all niggas? Who's this nigga, yo? Why are these motherfuckers over here? Why? You know what I mean? He like, yo, you gotta leave all that Baltimore shit in Baltimore, bro. That was one of the bigger eye openers that, you know what I mean?
Would get into stuff and I have the warrant, so I just had a situation and a homie would be like, yo, B, come with me. And my 2 oldest kids, mom, man, I'ma still, every time I think about her, I apologize. Only because of the lifestyle at that time. And I'm pretty sure it damaged our relationship.
Absolutely.
And but she always would look at me and be like, Brian, leave. And because that was my only, I credit her for learning, watching her family and learning love. So I learned love through watching somebody else's family only because of my dynamic of my family. They'd cuss each other out and sit and talk with each other right after this. My family was never like that. They are now, but at first they wasn't like that. So I was sitting there thinking, oh really work. And they kind of just took me all the way in. Now I was already damaged. Me and her got together, it was like 17. So when I would get these little charges, and on the run or the police coming at her mom would do it too much, and then my mother calling saying they're coming at her door. I have a homie in Alabama or got a homie already going to Florida, and I would go out there for a month or 2 weeks or something like that. It was the same thing. Like you said, I remember my first time in Alabama. I was in Montgomery, Alabama on the run, and I'm walking down the street, and what's going on, man? These niggas talking to you. I don't know you, nigga. First of all, I come myself walking to the store. Homie to left, and I'm thinking, yo, I gotta get out of here, yo. Yeah, right. So I think I'm walking to a store in Alabama. It's crazy. So I'm walking down the street, 20, 30 dudes playing basketball. At this time I was 20. And I'm thinking, oh man, you know what I'm saying? I got, because I'm still, in my mind, it's where I'm geared to. Walk past every dude out there in the basketball court. So speak to me. By the time I got to the gas station, I'm speaking to everybody. What's up, yo? All right. I noticed when I was riding back to Baltimore how my attitude is going back to Baltimore.
You feel the energy the closer you get.
Yeah,
it's crazy, ain't it?
And that's when I realized something was wrong. And you still take time. You gotta put effort in, and you gotta be dedicated to making the changes. Because if you already got that damage going on, that trauma going on, you can't put a mask on it to actually heal. The mask's not gonna work. All the mask's gonna do is get ripped off every time you go through a situation that reminds you of it. And then you're gonna have to put yourself back in the mind frame of not having a traumatic response and all these things.
Yeah, retraining and shit.
Or
your process.
What we was taught. What we was taught in high school. You know, me and Wayne had the crazy class in high school, bro. So
you said y'all had the crazy class.
Yeah, the crazy class. It was a one-on-one. That's what I called it. It was a one-on-one crazy class, man. And what they would do is he gave you a thing. This was the class when your mama ain't want to put you on the medicine.
Okay, the Ritalin.
Your mama wasn't with the Ritalin.
Okay.
Your mama wasn't gonna let him give you the Ritalin. So what they did was they sent you to a counselor, and he did this. This is all the problems they saying you had right there. Look at that long list there. Yeah. And here is how to handle it without the medicine. So what they did was they gave you a format of how to deal with whatever they saying. This would go walk out the room and breathe, or go. This is why probably all of us probably try to play every sport we could think of.
We did. So outlet.
Yeah, so outlet was a big thing on there. Breathing exercises, expressing yourself to your peers, and all these things. So I think with all that is how some of us actually got close. I think what they wasn't realizing that all of us was probably already in the realm of having guns and drugs around us. So when we sat with each other at times, it was a lot of brotherhood going on, but also we just got better at the bullshit.
You get better with dealing with it.
You got better with dealing with it. You got better at it. You got better with dealing with it. Because he might be going through something a little different. Like, yo, check this out. This is what I did.
But Bryce, that's what I mean when I say when we get together, all this shit come back. Because I forgot you was even in that joint, bro. I forgot about all that shit. And that dude made perfect sense a lot of times. It was just us getting over what we were going through at that time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Right. And how could they even think, there was nothing prepared for us. They were still trying shit that they learned in the 80s and shit on this new 90s generation where it was a whole nother fucking world.
And the same thing is still going on. No, I was just saying the same thing is still going on today.
Right. Everything, guys, there always got to be a new updated system of how to deal with now. You can't just use this old, you know what I'm saying? Because there was a couple times I wigged out on y'all. Because he just wasn't officially, he didn't know how to deal with us on all these levels. We deal with niggas got killed around the neighborhood, and then I'm kind of wigging out in class, so they send you to yo, and he trying to keep you. I'm like, niggas, I just watch niggas die, bro. What the fuck is this fucking snack and the fucking juice and the, you know what I'm saying? And we gonna breathe and we gonna, no, the fuck we ain't. I'm about to stretch you the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Fuck you. Yeah. I don't know how many times I went on about that. He be real quick, like, sip some juice. So sip this juice, and then have a snack. Calm down. You remember that shit? That's what I remember more than anything. And so, right. And then certain days it hit a nerve. I just like, yo, I want no fucking juice and no cookies, yo. Like me, you know what I mean? Either that or futures. Right.
Futures was crazy, yo.
They put Wayne in both of your songs. Stuff.
No, right.
Wayne with the pizzas for gravy.
Yeah. And I was motherfucking the goddamn motherfucking lacrosse. They was like, you ever thought about playing lacrosse? I was like, yeah, well, coaching them been trying to get me. They was like, no, you need to. You need to do something else over there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the sports for me. Yeah, we used to do.
Yo, listen, I'm 14 years old. We would walk to school.
And
What you used to drink, bro?
Fucking E&J.
We was drinking the Easy, what do you call it?
Easy Jeezy.
Oh, man.
And what else you was drinking?
Cisco. Either mix it or separate, nigga. That's what we drunk.
Or you know what? Sometimes I come if I was having a light day. I remember I used to have light.
What's a light day?
A light day. I would
Yeah.
And sip a little bit.
The whole time.
Sipping at lunch, bro.
Mm-hmm.
This is when all the alcoholics met.
Yeah.
Bro, we was alcoholics by the time we was 15 years old.
You were.
Yeah.
I had about the time I got around to the going to the 11, 12, I had to slow down. Like it was a thing that I thought. Like remember, I was like, yo, I can't drink like that no more, yo. All our 11th, 10th grade years, we was smashed going to school.
Yeah.
Pissy fucking drunk, bro.
We was drunk playing football.
Yeah, we were. We was drunk. We'd get smashed, bro. That's why we was numb. Before, after, we was walking. Yeah, we would be smoking and drinking going to school, and then. Yeah. The mama signs. Yeah, we was having that day, boy. We was rolling. Yeah.
Listen, you gotta. As hard as it is to say this, bro, a good amount of dudes from our age bracket was damn near certified killers by the time we was in 11th grade.
Yeah.
From alcohol, just from the environment.
Everything that was going on.
And the alcohol was what made you be like, what would I?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like you say, like you watching nigga get busted in the head. Homie got shot next to you the day before. You got to go to school, and sometimes going to school it made it worse because it could lash over in school, depending.
Yeah, you're going to flip out. You'll wig out.
Yeah. So when they put me in, I remember them putting me in ROTC as I got put out of school, and I had to be a part of all the programs. So I had to be like on the rifle team. I had to be like an after-school program, everything there. I had to be to school at 6 o'clock in the morning at this time for ROTC. It was a part of me getting back in school. I remember I'm sitting there at Colonel Collins and them telling me to do something. I threw the rifle down, man. Fuck y'all. Fuck these goofy ass niggas in here.
Right.
Because ROTC wasn't known for, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, I'm looking at everybody, it's a bunch of cornballs in here, bro. Why am I here first thing in the morning? But mind you, all it was I couldn't walk down the street and drink in the morning no more. So I'm really having
shock, going through shock.
Yeah, I'm going through shock.
Withdrawals.
Withdrawals.
You see what I'm saying? And you know what they did? They changed my life, kind of how football, because I stopped playing football once they killed my cousin.
Yeah.
So what happened with me was when I started really having them flip out moments regularly. Colonel Collins and Sergeant Free looked at me and said, "This is what we gonna do for you. We gonna make you the leader." Like, why the fuck would you make me the leader? Stupid. What they realized is if they gave me responsibility for everybody else,
Yes, sir. Hold people accountable. Hold yourself
I would
accountable.
hold myself accountable for the team. And they changed my life, bro.
Yeah, that was amazing, bro.
They changed my life. I started formatting myself a little different. So even if I am drinking or something, I might still get up. You know what I mean? Me and Wayne might get a drink, but Wayne, both of us kind of got to a point where
It wasn't even like later years, like them later years. We fell back.
No, yeah,
we fell back. We still smoked and joked, but not that drinking, not as heavy like we was in 19th century.
And if it was, we would do it like it would just probably just be me and him with one other person. We started doing it like in a homie house. I remember going to Seward House sometimes.
Seward, yep.
And we would go to Seward House and we would sit there and drink. So it wasn't like a whole group, and we wasn't loud and flamboyant about it no more.
Right.
Now he one of the head football players of the school. You see what I'm saying? So that format, what he gave us, definitely helped. But it didn't. It helped us cope. I think his format helped me cope until I was 25. About 25.
The world started changing again on you.
And the world started changing again. And the coping mechanisms wasn't working no more.
Yeah. And that was around those times that I popped.
Yeah.
Started catching hella time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and my father, I remember having those conversations, and he was like,
Man, all those years we fought to keep you out of jail. You wait to get in your fucking 20s and shit to keep going back and forth to jail. He's like, Wayne, you ruining your life. You ruining your best job years and you know what I mean? Yeah. It was
Like I say, the coping mechanism started not working. That's what it was for me. When homie taught the coping mechanism stopped working. For some reason. And next thing you know, like you say, man, I already got
The kid that's just brand new here.
Yeah.
And I'm running a muck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My kid's mother, she was ready to leave. She like, bro, I don't want to have nothing to do with this. But she's so used to me being a knucklehead that when I told her I wanted to go to truck driving school, she said, I don't believe it. She's like, I don't believe in you wanting to go to truck driving school.
Yeah.
Because I ain't never seen you nothing but hustle.
The statistics, up to that point. The statistics, you know what I mean?
Yeah. My mother was the same way, you know what I mean? And she purposely did it because she knew that, you know, we still had our own pride. We still had our own egos. And my mother would be like, man, all the dumb shit you done all these years, I don't hear you talking nothing about no black history, educate nothing, nigga. Like, because I still knew the shit verbatim. When she started talking, I started talking my shit. She's like, I don't hear that shit from you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it made me reformat, bro, a lot of the times. And that was their job, man. Yeah, it was nothing to do it but do it. That was it. Like, fuck you talking about? Now, and from those years, you've just been cleaning up all that you messed up. I had a conversation with my homegirl, Rachel. Rachel, the other day.
That's who I was. Rachel. I saw when she was talking to Candace.
Yeah, Rachel. But I was telling her, like, she was saying, yo, I'm just ready to get in a different energy, in a different mood. And I was saying to her, like, yo, it took us this amount of years to dig us in. Man, we gotta dig out. You know what I'm saying? You know?
He was already respectable. So everybody know.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So as you
Yeah. A lot of people didn't know those sides of us because we never had the opportunity. You know what? Yeah. I'm gonna say just one thing. Yeah, and then we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. It's just an ill ass conversation to be speaking on. But it was who was our homeroom teacher? Miss Young. Miss Young. You remember Miss Treva Young? Ill ass sister. You know what I mean? Ill ass sister, let us woman, you know what I mean, to the death to this day because of the impact she had in my life. So that Afrocentric side, that Black history side, that we grew up with the religions and all, nobody in school knew that of me. Everybody around the way did, but nobody in school did. And when we, my mother, like I said, had these lectures and stuff, and Miss Young used to come to me, and she didn't put the two and two together that my mother was who my mother was. because how I was acting. And at that last joint that Dr. Clark spoke at Coppin University, my mama brought them here, you know what I mean, to speak. And I had to pass out pamphlets or something my mother had me doing.
Yeah.
And I went past her, and I just so happened for a split moment, looked at him and was like, oh shit. Miss Young is in this bitch. I'm about to catch hell. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she looked at me, you know what I mean? And just like shrugged her shoulders like, huh. You know what I'm saying? And I just like handed her the pamphlets, like, so I keep going. And the whole time, every time I looked over, she was already looking at me. Every single time.
Everything you did.
Every single time. So the whole event, and not peeping it, she always wore the Afrocentric gear. She was always at all that. She always was the one in class giving us that. I never put the two and two together. And when I first started, I was like, I know this woman from somewhere, but I can't picture where it's from. Yo, I ducked her ass out as much as I could that whole event. You know what I mean? And just the moment that I wasn't paying attention, she crept down on me and cornered me. She said, oh, she was like, Carmen and Donald is your parents, huh? She's like, oh, I'm gonna have a ball with this Monday. She could not wait, yo. You know what I'm saying? She ain't say nothing to my mother, but the instantly when we got in class, she was like, oh, I know I'm gonna get my money's worth. Yeah, she said, oh no, you sitting right up front, Wayne. Come on, sit right here. Put my desk right beside hers, yo. You know what I'm saying? You remember that? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like she was like, no, she was like, matter of fact, I'm not even gonna tell. I'm gonna let Wayne tell y'all the story, cause he knows. And then I get up like, yeah, and then black people, and then niggas be looking at me like, what the fuck? Nigga, how you say it teach the whole fucking class, bro? I'm like, man, yo, my parents, bro. Miss Young, she know what my parents do. They activists and da 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 da. You know what I mean? I kept that separate.
Yeah.
But it was those black pillars in our community, like the Miss Youngs, like your mom, like your moms. You know what I'm saying? That corner, yeah. I remember that. We be always great hit that bed. You be like, nah, yo, let's go the other way, bro. Like, I ain't going. I'm like, oh shit. Nah, you right. Yeah. Boogie. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yo. I ain't been home in 2 days, nigga. I don't even want to see.
You know what I'm saying? Man, those are the days, bro. We gonna have a couple more of these
conversations in the future, but it was imperative that I got you on, bro, because you doing some major shit right now. You know what I mean? The legacy, the lineage that you come from. Big shout out to your moms, man, who was always a pillar in our communities for us. Like I just said, your mother, my mother, his mother, her mother, these black women held this community down. You see what I'm saying? Big shout out to them for raising these grown men. You know what I mean? These grown boys to be men. You know what I'm saying? Like, big shout out to her. So I had to, you know what I mean, give a shout out to her. Pops, everybody, man. You help us get where we are, man. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, bro.
Yeah, no, bro. I got brother Rashid.
You know what I mean? He got his program, the groups and the group home kids, and you know what I mean? So I'm gonna get him in this bitch next. Because we gotta have these conversations, you know what I'm saying? And everybody see and respect where we come from and where we going. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I definitely gotta get Lincoln here. Man, I want to get Lincoln here and a couple other guys. So we need to all sit around and have a conversation about those years. About that'd be funny. It'd be fucking interesting for a lot of folks to hear. Man, we gonna have a ball with that one. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get Red Fern crazy ass in here. You know what I'm saying? We gonna have a ball, yo. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because I was planning and working my ass off, not just like me by myself, but all of us, alongside of Big Brother B was a major part of this. Rest in peace to my big brother B. He was a major part of pushing me to do all of this, bro. We had a whole documentary we was working on for Coach Bonds. You know what I'm saying? That was off the back of B's idea. So when we finish and complete these projects, his name gonna be all the pictures gonna be all over it. You know what I'm saying? We get any big money off of that shit going to his family. You know what I'm saying? Because he was pushing me for years to get up and get on this grind and get outside of my head. It's because of these great people around me and brothers like you to help me get out of my depressive state. You know what I'm saying? To make this shit make sense, man. So big cool shout outs, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, bro. Let everybody know where they can find you, be with your companies and your names and all your info.
My company is Metavision LLC. We do utilities, excavation, and basement waterproofing foundations. You can reach me at IG. I think my IG and my Facebook the same thing. b.w.yonder. So yeah, man. Anytime you want any help with anything, or if you got any community events, let me know, man. We'll definitely donate to it. We do a back to school drive that inshallah we'll be paying with rain this year and doing it right here.
Yes, sir. We doing that. Yeah.
And so definitely, man. I appreciate, like I said, Wayne, man. It's definitely a great time.
Man, great time, bro. You know what I mean?
It's a blessing for us to be able to do this together. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. All the brothers that we just not here, man, been pushing us to go and be great. It's our time to shine. Big shout out to everybody watching everything, supporting everything. Remember, every last Mondays of the month, fourth Monday of the month, we got our food drives. If y'all haven't yet, go see Flood. Flood is on TMT Digital. It's on Tubi. It's on Apple TV. All that good stuff. Because we got Flood 2 coming up. You know what I mean? I got Big E in that. Big Art. Big Art. Yeah, I got him in that joint. You know what I'm saying? A lot of brothers be pulling out the cut that's gonna be popping in that joint, man. So yeah, no, you definitely in, bro. We rolling, bro. It's a done deal now. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Much love and respect to everybody checking us out. Jid, Cheetah, thank y'all for supporting me all the time with all my dreams and plans and being right beside me every trip of the route. You know what I mean? 10 toes, nigga. Trying to tell you. Love y'all, family. 100.